Hey guys, coldbrew here. Welcome back to another raid video. We are on the test server today. We've got two changes to legendary champions that have gone through the rebalancing as they did, and I've got both of the champions. I had used them. Some were used more than others, but I'll go over both of the champions with their changes today and show them in action for you guys to see on how they're worth it. So first one is Gurgoh and the other one is Warchief. I will say Gurgoh received a pretty solid change on his kit, so let's go and have a look at him, and I'll explain how I used him before, and actually the change is going to be the same for him right now. In terms of usefulness, now he has an AoE attack on his A3, so how you would use Gurgoh in the past would use his A2 and remove buffs from all enemies at the start of the fight. You will have him very fast. You would gain that extra turn also after that, and then you would follow up with your A3 attack. Really, the follow-up attack wouldn't matter so much. But now with this change, you can remove all buffs from enemies, making, of course, Gurgoh a target for the polymorph blessing. But I mean, it's fine. You still establish control with this one. So it's no longer just removing two random buffs. Now it has the chance to remove every single one of them. Fantastic. And then you place the freeze. And then what happens is you get that extra turn. You follow up with an AoE attack to everybody. And you also have the extra hit if the target is under a freeze. But it's an AoE attack. So this is a double hitting attack. Overall, I think it could be a solid way to use Gurgoh in terms of a mixture of a damage dealer slash support if you wanted to, but strictly I'm going to show him as a support right now, and then maybe I'll try to see his damage potential after this. And then his Frost Embrace passive has now basically become stronger because of this part. Increase the damage inflicted by allies against enemies under a freeze debuff. So if you guys didn't know, when you freeze an enemy, they receive 75% of normal damage. So let's say you hit for 100. When they're frozen, they would receive 75 as damage. But now with this one, assuming the maths are basically simplified, you're going to hit for 100% of your normal damage. So if you hit for 100, you're going to hit for 100 when Gurgoh is in the same team. Assuming the maths follow a simple path instead of going, crazy in terms of the multiplicatives. So the way that you used to build him with Gurgoh is to build him with Eagle Eye and just go straight up accuracy, high speed, so he follows up second in terms of your speed booster. So you would use a speed booster, then Gurgoh to establish control, and then your damage dealer would follow up next. So how a fight would go would basically be like this. I wonder if I even have if I even am enough fast to actually do anything. So let's see. I guess this team, maybe I'm fast enough. So here I could see Gurgoh being used here. So let's see Gurgoh. Look at that. My CP is the fastest, but maybe I could use an arbiter for the increased attack. So let me just follow up with that and see if I'm fast enough here. Not really. So I'm gonna use CP's gear. So I'll be right back. So the way that you would use this sort of team would be like a speed booster. You could use Gurgoh, you could use another speed booster in between them, and then have a speed tune team basically going arbiter number 1, the second speed booster following up number 2, and then Gurgoh being a control champion would follow up as number 3, and then you would have your damage dealer go last. So here I'm just going to show 3 champions, show you guys the idea of Gurgoh and how he would be used. And then I want to follow up with a build on Gurgoh being as just a straight up damage dealer to see on how his A3 has changed now that it's an AoE attack. Because in the past, his A3 attack was a 6 multiplier on a single target. So that probably has changed. No chance it remained the same because of also the decreased defense that you apply. It seems very, very high. So here, do we have any polymorphs against us? No. So cool. There's going to be a 50-50 chance we remove these plus the resistance chances. Yeah, there it is. So look at that. We freeze these 3 enemies pretty good, but this guy can cleanse, so that could be annoying. There's the decreased defense, also barely did any damage, so it's all looking great in terms of damage potential. But here I'll just do the big attack. It's some solid damage, I could say here. Let's see the revive. Okay, Gurgoh goes. Can we remove any of these buffs? Not really. Boom. Take out some of the targets. Is he gonna revive again? No, I think he just used it. But wow, we get hit by the monkey and we die. So that is my fault using just 3 champions. So let's say I use the Yumiko here for additional lockup. would have been a much easier fight because I would also get the reset. So here, could do this. Could lock them out completely. Frozen there, but also managed to apply the decreased defense. There's a decreased defense there again. Let's hit them with Wukong. Get the kill through. And basically, that's kind of the fight, right? So we lock out. We managed to lock out him. And we're just waiting it out right now. So just waiting out the stone skin, and that would have been the fight. And there we go. Okay. So what I want to test now is how would Gurgoh be now with a different setup? So what I would want to see is, okay, is he worth it as a damage dealer now that he has an AoE attack that can also place the decreased defense and then follow up with another one on frozen targets? So maybe running him together with a Torment would be great, but Gurgoh would still be the damage dealer here. So I would build him basically with this build. So crit rate, follow out with crit damage. I wouldn't really use Shield Breaker unless I know it's Bolster. So not very often that you'll see Bolster anymore, but let's say they do have Bolster. So we use that. Let's follow up maybe with Ruthless Ambush, although it doesn't really affect us because the first hit will be the weaker one for us. We'll be doing multiple hits, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So then we follow up with straight up Masteries, going for Helm Smasher. Increase damage inflicted on targets with stun, sleep, fear, true fear, freeze. That works for us. And then we would go a little bit onto the support tree. So here we go support. Maybe Evil Eye works for us. I would say Lord of Steel works better, gives us a little bit of the stats. And then maybe Methodical is fine for us. So here, just working with Helm Smasher really for the extra damage. But what I want now is to completely give Gurgoh the opportunity to be a damage dealer. So be right back, guys. I'll change out the gear and we'll see him in more of a savage gear situation. Right, so I'm back. With this build, Gurgoh, the Ogre, would be built basically as a damage dealer. We're gonna test out his real damage with a savage set and a cruel set, but I'm keeping his accuracy a little bit high with about 224, a little bit of accuracy here. I could have gone without the cruel set here and maybe gone with a perception set. His speed is relatively okay with 206, by no means, and you know, for competitive situations, but it's good enough for mid game. I would say 200 speed, 287, 6.2k attack, not a lot. Okay, I'm running an accuracy banner here, crit damage amulet, attack ring. We're running attack percent and extra attack percent there to get all of those stats. His overall stats comparatively are okay, but let's see him in this situation with very tanky targets here. On how we would perform against these guys. Let's remove the one from there and let's use Kymar here. So this would be like the team I would use. So actually no Kymar. Let's use Torment. As I said before, you want to benefit from freezes. So the way that Gurgoh works is that he does boost the damage inflicted by allies, but it does not say anything about freezes on his own. So Torment has this great passive where he can freeze enemies when there is buffs and perimeter fields happening. So sounds like a win-win situation to me. It's the only problem with this is basically Gurgoh's chance to apply the decreased defense, basically boosting his own damage on that second hit through. So this is a very tanky team, by the way. Very bad for this showcase specifically, because you'll have the damage mitigation coming from Ursuga, and then you also have damage mitigation from Krisk. So didn't lock them out there. I wanted to see whether we could freeze there, but again, yeah, the Sifi actually buffs up with the stupid skill, which is her block debuff buff. So here we'll probably try to remove the buffs from Krisk, see how that goes. Okay, they're actually pretty slow because of Arbiter is why I got fast. So here I'm gonna try and freeze them first. Maybe we can remove this from Rotos. Oh, actually we frozen every single one of them. Okay, let's see the double hit here. Wow, their resistance must be like 0. Huh. Okay, let's see the double hit here. So, whoa. Okay. That was actually nice. Okay, Gurgoh, you caught my attention now, and I want to test you out in like a proper situation. Okay, okay, Gurgoh. Right, let's try it against this team. That was Jedi's team. Let's see, can we actually stop them on their tracks? There we go. Ooh, we get slept. Okay, no, we got woken up. All right, good. Boosting. Let's I do have a chance to freeze with the A1 here. I'll try it. I didn't, but let's follow up the A2. There it is. And the A3 does really solid damage, actually. Like, if you think about it, it does very good damage. I want to see it, though, against these big targets in the Dragon's Lair, let's say. So in Dragon's Lair, you would see them stage 23. Let's follow up with Lydia. All right. Lydia, Arbiter, and Gurgoh. Nothing much after that. I'm not going to use... is it only arena battle? Right. I'm not going to use any, boosters like Battle Khazar and stuff like that. Let's just see with these kind of stats, what are we looking at? We already have a decreased defense from our own kit there. So let's see. We freeze. Okay. So the freeze is the key here, because that's when you do the double hit. So first hit applies decreased defense. There's a one already, but I want to see both of the attacks and their multiplier. Ooh. Damn. Okay, so let's see. If I had Yumiko here. Already see this. Okay, if I had Yumiko here, just throw this. We would do the A2 here. The freeze, though, I think is key. If you don't land the freeze, right, you don't get that extra hit. So the freeze can be resisted with like 220 accuracy that I have. It can get resisted. So you don't get the multi-hit going through. He doesn't do like the 220 to 250,000 damage. But here, we'll boost again, get the reset through. I mean, the increased attack would have been nice. Here, we do this. Very solid damage, actually, coming in from Gurgoh. Like, kind of love the A3. It won't work on bosses, though. Won't work on bosses. So you don't get that extra hit through. I don't mind it not working on bosses. It's just that, if you give him really strong gear, you would expect him to actually hit the bosses for a lot. And his cooldowns are quite long. Even though he resets them himself, cooldowns are quite long. So decreased defense, weaken. How I would use his skills basically on bosses would be the A3 first, since you cannot freeze the bosses. So I would use the 4-turn cooldown skill first. Hits for 140k. It's not a lot on bosses. So you'd use that first on bosses, and then basically when you get a turn, the A2 gives you that extra turn, reduces the cooldown of the A3 by 1 turn. So basically you get your A3 faster. Then you go and hit with the A1. I can see his usefulness in the waves, especially for Doom Tower. But that's basically Gurgoh's kit, guys. I wouldn't go crazy with damage on him, but he's a solid choice. From what I'm seeing, he's a solid choice because of the decreased defense that he applies. I could definitely see a team working with him. So next up in the list is going to be Warchief. All right. Warchief has received changes to the way that his A2 works. Now it steals completely all buffs from the target and then plays provoke with 3 turns, and then can also place provoke as an AoE to all enemies, and place a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. The value of the shield proportional to defense. You give him lots of defense, you benefit from big shields. That's when you also see an additional benefit here when a hit is gone to your allies and they've got a shield already. That will actually heal them. This is significantly better than what he had before. It was just some sort of damage reflect before, which didn't work that well. Increases champion's defense by 10% for each enemy under provoke debuff. Will also increase his champion's defense by 5 for each enemy not under a provoke. So pretty cool overall. I don't see a reason why not using Warchief in Hydra. It's gonna be great for the Head of Decay. I'm running him with Giant Slayer. You don't need to. You can run definitely support with Eagle Eye if you're having difficulty getting to the 400 accuracy range, or even you can run Fearsome Presence for that extra chance to provoke 5%, since his skills are not 100%. That 50% chance to provoke on all other enemies goes to 75%. That goes to 80 with the mastery, and then his A1 also gets a little bit of a buff to its chance to 40% with the mastery. So having that in mind, I'm running him with Relentless for the extra turn, so that extra turn basically gives you the opportunity to get your cooldowns out faster. I'm not gonna run him as a head of mischief tank, so no resistance on him. Overall stats, I went for about 250 speed, 400 accuracy, and then very solid defense with 6,000. You can lose a little bit to go more health, like if you want to try and get 80,000 health with 5,000 defense, I could see that working, but his shield depends on his defense, so that would have been pretty nice actually. So let's say you want to use him in dungeons. All right, Warchief would work, I think, pretty well in like the spider, right? Let's say you still want to run like the normal teams on spider, where you do have Warchief. Let's say you build him with a lot of defense. Is that gonna protect your cold hearts? We can see it in action right now. Is that gonna be enough for the cold hearts to be protected and not die because of the shield? From what I've tested, not so much, but I'm gonna let you guys to be the judges of that, the amount of the shield that you'll get. Okay, just don't see the damage that the cold hearts are gonna do. We don't care about that at this point, because the cold hearts are just gonna be basically at whatever gear you guys have. So just wanted to show you the shield. All right, so let's see. The shield with 6,000 defense jumps up to about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bars of health. I wouldn't say that's a lot, but it does help protect you. There's a chance to provoke all the other enemies, so it's not 100% chance for you to provoke them. And I see here there's like 0 provokes. I don't know what is happening there. The Hex, by the way, is killing the small spiders. That is pretty cool. But let's see. Boom, cold heart actually killed the boss. But I don't see why not. The chance to provoke is still going to be very nice. The shield is going to be great. If you've got an increased defense buff to go before this will actually make the shield even stronger. And that will basically give you the opportunity to beat the spider quicker. But again, you need very strong cold hearts, decreased defense, and weaken. Or you have a reset champion and then just use a decreased defense. And basically Warchief is going to be there as you would use in the past. Let's say Miscreated Monster. But Miscreated Monster also has the stun chance, which is better than I think the provoke chance we have. Or is it not? Even so, I think the shields by Miscreated Monster are much higher. So Warchief's real usage will come from the Hydra, in my opinion. Let's say you want to run him in the Hydra. We're going to run him now in Nightmare Hydra. We're going to see him in action against the Head of Decay. He's going to have no issues provoking the Head of Decay, especially if you're running a semi-auto kind of team. You're going to have Warchief attacking the head there. His A1 has a chance to provoke. His A2 has a guaranteed chance to at least provoke the target that you're running on. Look at that, 3 turns provoke going through, and then after that you can basically chill and just let your team do its work. Okay, when Warchief does his big shield that basically also protects you, I'm running no decreased attack in this team, meaning that Head of Wrath, this thing right here, can hit very hard on your allies when it does do its thing at 15 turns here on the top. Basically, you need protection. How is that protection going to be? How do I get that protection? Basically from shields from Warchief. And that's why I'm liking this guy in terms of Hydra. You see, we get hit now. All the shields protected me. There was no decreased attack on the head there. And we still were at a very solid, damage reduction there. Basically, because of the shields, we didn't receive damage. We received shield damage, and then that transferred into a heal, which was basically fine for us at this point because we're already at 100%. So the Head of Decay is down. It's a high damage team here, so it doesn't really affect us. And we just let the team run after this. Warchief doesn't do much. Once the Head of Decay is down, the head that can get provoked Once that head is down, look at that. The shield heals us by a very nice amount. We also have the leech there coming in. Very beautiful. The only problem with Warchief is that he loses a lot of his usefulness, which is provoked after that happens. But remember, when there's no targets provoked, he also gets an increased defense. That's pretty cool. The only problem will be is that we don't have something like a decreased attack running in the team. So I would say that would be a big no-no, in my opinion, for, you know, the real high-end teams, when you just want to say you want to have a guaranteed run of success. So something like a Chris will be the perfect alternative here in the position of Warchief. But I like the change. It makes him a much more solid provoke champion. The increased defense plus the shield is beautiful, especially if you got an increased defense buff running. That allows Warchief, look at that, that is very nasty. That allows Warchief to give you an even bigger shield when he does use his A3. We're already a little bit low here, but I think once he uses the A3, there's the A3. Look at that big shield. Now, whenever we get attacked, we'll be topped up a little bit by the damage dealt on the shields. So once we see like a big AoE attack, look at that. Look at the heals coming through. Basically, we are healed to full. Even the supports that don't do much damage will be able to get healed. And because I'm also running an increased resistance buff because of my boy here, Feral, I'm able to basically keep my buffs on for a long time. If you've got like 300 resistance on average, you get a good solid increase in resistance. Let's say you run an increased resistance aura as well, that's even better. You run the decreased accuracy debuff also. It basically guarantees you never get your buffs stolen. And as I said that, of course I get my buff stolen. This freaking game, guys. Anyway, guys, this was a showcase on Warchief and Gurgoh. I like both of these champions. I like both of these rebalancing changes. As I said, they're not going to be going into my main teams, but you guys might see a lot more out of these guys. Thanks a lot, guys, for watching this video showcase on the test server. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Thank you all so much. See you in the next one. See ya.